So I'm filming this on the day that they just announced the new qualifying format. What do we all think? It's pretty good. No, it's not. I'm not usually one to complain. I like to see the positive in things, but remember the last time that F1 introduced a new qualifying format and we were all like, "Yeah, could be great. We never know. We've got to give it a chance." And then remember what happened last time we did that? You remember? Yeah, it was really, really bad and we don't want to do that again. But that's not what we're talking about in this video because I already had a video planned and I don't have anything planned for the qualifying. So we're just not going to touch on that. And we're going to talk about Aston Martin because, oh my gosh, I have a lot of thoughts. So welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. I hope you're all doing well wherever you are in the world. As you'll notice, I am wearing the same green shirt. Yes, it's green. I know you all said it wasn't green. It's just the lighting. I promise it's green. It matches the vibe of Aston Martin. But I did make a video a while back voicing my displeasure on another topic surrounding Aston Martin. I'll leave it linked wherever you want to find it so you can watch that video. But for this one, we're talking about the whining. Oh my gosh, it's really bad, and it could get a lot worse. Now it's great to see the green and also pink team back on the grid. It's awesome to see Aston Martin and F1, such a long-time motorsport iconic brand, back on the grid, courtesy of our favorite James Bond villain, but it's coming with even more controversy and more whining, and I think there's a chance that it could leave Aston Martin to be sent to the back marker of the field. For real, 2022 could happen. Here's why. Now a quick TLDR, we're going to get through this really quick. Just for those of you who don't know what happened with Aston Martin, it's crazy. So first, Aston Martin, formerly Racing Point last year, caught a lot of fire for showing up to the season with a car that seemingly was copying the previous year's championship winning car. It was legal. There was a loophole in the rules that allowed them to do it. It was fine. But then it was prohibited for this season. No one could copy their formula because Formula One isn't about copying other teams' cars. But regardless, number two is the fact that F1 introduced new floor and rear aero rules to combat downforce and make the cars a bit slower and hopefully bring racing closer. Cool. Number three, every single team, including Aston Martin, agreed to these rules. Number four, we didn't know what teams would be affected. It was kind of an unknown. That's why they all signed up for it, because they all thought they could benefit from the new rules. And number five, we rocked up to the 2021 season and the low-rake cars took the biggest hit, and that is the Mercedes, and more notably for this video, the Aston Martin. Now, after all these events, it has become increasingly loud on the Aston Martin side of the paddock that these new rules are unfair and unfairly affect their performance, and they want something to be changed about that. But remember when about 30 seconds ago, I said something along the lines of, number three, every single team, including Aston Martin, agreed to these rules. Yeah, they agreed to this. So why the complaining? Now usually I don't like to bring in negative vibes into the channel. Mostly I feel like I do it inadvertently sometimes, but regardless, I like to put a positive spin on things as much as I can unless they're egregiously terrible. And in this case, I have absolutely zero sympathy for a team that copied the championship winning car by exposing a loophole and then getting upset when the rules that they agreed to slow the car that they copied down. Like, that's not how the world works. Sorry. Now, Otmar, I attribute zero of this blame to him. He's been the one mainly being the proponent of the complaining, but I don't put any of this on his shoulders. I think he's on our side on this. I put most of, if not all the blame, on this guy. the Bond villain that we talked about before, who never faces the media unless things truly boiled over, kind of like how they did last year, and based on how things are going this year, we're pretty much due for an incredibly uncomfortably threatening speech from him, basically any minute now.
I'm extremely angry. I've never cheated at anything in my life. My integrity and that of my team are beyond question. We did absolutely nothing wrong.
It's just pretty clear to me that Otmar has had this burden put on his shoulders just because he's the team principal and that's his job, whether he believes what he's saying or not. Now, why do I think that these events could lead to Aston Martin going to the back of the grid in 2022? Well, to be frank, the rules and the calls to the courts that they're calling for aren't going to happen. The FIA are not going to change the rules. They're going to have to do something that they haven't done in years. Develop a car that's fast without copying. Welcome to F1. And as we all know, developing a fast car costs a lot of money, which Aston Martin has lots of. But there is a big new era of Formula One on the horizon next season. And as we know from history, recent history even, you kind of have to focus on one or the other. You go all in for this season and get as much out of this season as possible, or you lose some performance this season and focus on developing for next year and let's say the decade to come of that new technical regulation. Kind of like Haas has done. They've just flat out said they're not developing the car this year so they can focus on next year's car and make their long-lasting success possible. But if you look at Aston Martin and the context surrounding them, I think they're in the most precarious position of any team on the grid when it comes to developing their car, because that team is coming off, as Racing Point, their best season in Formula One to date. They won a race, multiple podiums. That was an awesome season. And now they're owned by a new brand, a new company that expects nothing but top-end results, with a car that just isn't going to be able to do that without said development. So say they do develop this year, they're going to be able to get maybe 5th in the constructors because all the other teams are so much farther ahead of them. There's no way they're going to be able to catch up enough to at least even match what they did in 2020. And is that really worth risking losing any potential gains you can get for the new era of Formula One? No, it's not. Now, in a perfect world, Aston Martin would just pull a Haas and bin off any developments for this year and focus on the future. But what if they could do both? Could they feasibly develop a quick car for this season and next season? Well, I'm glad you asked, Mr. Camera Lens, because the people have spoken. So I put a poll out on Twitter, which, by the way, if you're not following me there, the link's down there. You can go ahead and follow it. And you can vote in the polls with the people. It's a lot of fun. And you can talk to me on Twitter, because it's cool. Regardless, the title of the poll being, will Aston Martin's likely high spending to fix this year's car leave them behind for the 2022 regulations and see them become a backmarker to start the new era of Formula One? 41% of you said, yeah, they're in trouble. And 59% of you said, nah, Papa Stroll has got bank. Well, does he though? Now, according to CTV, shout out to Canadian news outlets by the way, Lawrence Stroll is the 18th richest person in Canada and 277th in the world at a whopping $2.6 billion net worth, as of 2019. But as we know, he's not alone. He's got a consortium of people giving the team money, and those people are as follows. Fellow Canadian, Andre... We're just going to call him Andre for now. He's worth $8.38 billion. That's a lot of money. John Idle, who is worth $44 million. Silas Chow, who is worth $2.7 billion. There's a couple here that aren't disclosed, which is, in my opinion, concerning. Those being Jonathan Dudman and Michael D. Not going to try that. And then John McCraw Jr. at $1.3 billion for a total of $15.14 billion. I'm going to throw $3 billion in for the two that aren't available. Now that's a lot of money, but is it enough? I don't know. It sounds like a lot though. So the title of this video and the whole point of me doing this is kind of redundant. Now, my main point for bringing up these stupidly, annoyingly rich people into this video, as annoying as it is to think of someone having $8 billion, they invested their money into this team. And with my limited knowledge of seed investors, they like to see returns on their investment like fast. And when the engineers come to these investors and say, hey, we're going to lay low this year, there's going to be low results, but we think with enough money, we can have a long-standing success with the new era. The investors aren't going to take too well to that. They want results now. So my guess is they're going to try to put their money into this season to develop the car as much as they can, and that could very well leave them on the back foot for 2022. And every single Sebastian Vettel fan is crying in the corner as I say that right now. Now, obviously, only time will tell if this turns into a problem for Aston Martin, if they actually do become a backmarker, because who knows, maybe Bahrain and Imola were just blips in the radar and it was just a track that they weren't strong at and they'll do better at other tracks, or maybe a couple small upgrades that don't cost too much can turn that car around. I doubt it, because when a team starts signaling off phrases like change the rules now and we'll take you to court, my best guess is that's their last resort and things aren't going too well in that team. But what do you all think? Those are just my thoughts looking at the situation as a whole. I hope Aston Martin don't become a backmarker. I hope no one becomes a backmarker and every team can feasibly get points come 2022. It'd be great to see for the health and the long-term viability of the sport. But I hope you all enjoyed watching this one. As always, if you are feeling nice, feel free to lick the stamp, send that subscribe button down below, drop a big old like if you really liked it, and don't miss the apex. See ya.